Let's see. So I had to travel recently, and it's a bit of a problem for me because I'm terrified of flying, but I'm severely addicted to landing. It's just like, yeah, it's a fetish, you know. Just in the plane, in a tinfoil with a rocket attached, kind of daring physics to kill me for a couple hours. And just, you know, it's worth going all of this, because at the end it's just like, ooh, there's that drop. Ooh, the landing gear's coming. Oh, we hit it! Ooh. I'm just sweating like, ooh, I gotta stop landing in public. When I got there, I traveled to Lexington, Kentucky, and I really like it out there. It's really pretty. I was able to see a friend of mine, Maria, who I hadn't seen in a while. And it was really cool. We're just all talking, and then she just introduced me to her new boyfriend, Dave, and she's like, oh, I didn't know if I told you Dave's a vegetarian. And I'm just like, oh, is there any particular reason you started dating a vegetarian? She's like, well, at my age, I have to start thinking about what I put in my body. So yeah, I went with her, and we went to this really interesting kind of it wasn't exactly a vegetarian store. It was actually it was a philosophical health food store. So they actually sold a very popular existential brand of milk. Way Are We Here? They also had some philosophical products for animals. They had Schrodinger's cat food. It both does and doesn't fill a cat up. Well, I was, talking to her, and I get to talk to some more vegetarians. So you get to, learn a bit more about the environment. One of the things, is you learn about, meat, just how much to produce it, how much water gets used, and how much damage gets done to the environment. And I came to realize, from hearing all of this, that if trees could talk, they'd spend a lot of time yelling at dogs. The other thing is discovering is that animals actually are able to communicate non-verbally, and the way that they do that is very poorly. So, yeah, I like to read and I like to learn, study up a little bit about different cultures, different religions. So I wasn't raised a Christian, but, I read a little bit about Christianity, and I have a lot of Christian friends, but the only thing that worries me a little bit about some of my Christian friends is I think they're a little too confident about the battle with Satan at the end. And hear me out. I'm not saying that I think, more people like Satan, but your battle strategy has been there for 2,000 years. This is the most popular book in the world, and your game plan's everywhere. I mean, the devil's had 2,000 years to adapt, innovate new strategies, new technology, but they're just, the battle is supposed to, according to this, has to happen in Jerusalem. You don't know. The devil could just be chilling in Athens. It's pretty close to the Mediterranean. He's just like, yeah, I'm just going to chill here in Athens, hit him the Greek way, from behind. Good to know, the side of me joke always works. See, I was actually feeling a little depressed recently, I'm sad to say, and wasn't sure exactly what to do with it, so I went to see a psychiatrist, and it wasn't much help, because you see, he was actually a traditional psychiatrist, so the entire session was in German. So, I don't know if you heard about it, it was really sad recently in the news. There's a lot of migrants who are trying to get from, they're leaving Libya, trying to get to the coast of Europe, and it's really sad. There actually have been some shipwrecks, a lot of people have drowned. Fortunately, it's getting a little more attention in the news, and I wrote to a friend of mine who lives in Europe, have you guys been talking about this? It's a friend of mine, Lorenzo, he lives in Holland, and he's like, yeah, man, it is a real tragedy what happened, and we've actually decided to do something about it. We're going to walk the 40 kilometers from my city of Rotterdam to the other city of Utrecht in order to raise money for this charity. And I just wrote him, like, Lorenzo, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I took that train ride with you. It's only half an hour. Do you want to spend the full 9 hours to walk it? I mean, the children need this money soon. Thank you. It's always good to have a couple that just die horribly. And you're just like, yeah.
Builds character.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Chris. So one of the things that often happens is, I don't even intend to, but you often end up just like eavesdropping as you go through life. It'll often happen that what's always amazing is whenever you end up eavesdropping, you hear like part of a conversation that you're like, I just wish I could have heard what led up to that. There was one time a couple of years ago, I was walking through my hometown of Princeton, New Jersey, and just walking with a friend, and I suddenly passed by this guy, and he's really sweaty, and he's nervous, it's late in the day, it's like a businessman, his tie's loose, he's in short to do, and he's just like, I passed by him, this is what I hear on the phone. Okay, what are we gonna do? my wife's gonna look in the account and know the money's missing. It's like, what led up to that? Like, how many months of bad decisions and, like, calls to bookies and, trying to, see, well, if I technically register it outside the state, it isn't illegal. Like, just what led up to that point? I mean, because nothing good was happening after that point. Like, oddly enough, I probably met that guy, if he took the next 5 years of his life, I probably met him at one of the high points, considering everything that probably came after that. Probably one of the other things that I heard that was the greatest was while I was working in a restaurant a couple of years ago, I passed by this one woman, and just as I was passing by, she was at a table with a bunch of people, and she just says at the top of her lungs, "Well, I have a distinct scar across both my boobs." It's like, like there was some other guy at the table, it's just like, I'm not a political guy, but who's been taken from the government a little more than they give back? Women with scars across their boobs. They've been living high up for far too long, and I think we need to put a stop to it. But this woman didn't want to stop put to. She proudly was a woman with scars across her boobs, and wasn't going to take that kind of crap. Probably the other thing I get from liking to read is you get to expose to a lot of words that you wouldn't get normally exposed to. Probably the favorite word that I've been exposed to recently is when I was for Sweden. I got to go for the New Year, so I saw a Swedish friend of mine, and he explained to me, there's a great word in Swedish. It's called jantelagen, which means Jante's law. And what it means in basic intended translation is don't be interesting. The Swedes actually were worried that this might be a problem in the society and actually have a word for it. It's like there's, a father coming, it's like, "Sven, get in here." "Yes, father?" "Sven, I've heard that you might be doing interesting things around town, trying to develop culture here in Sweden. I will not tolerate this crap. My father was a boring man. I am a boring man, and I will be damned if my son is not a boring man." Well, thank you very much for your time.